Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today we are reflecting, and the reason why I wanted to film a video about this was because I was reflecting on how much has changed in the past year for myself personally, socially, academically, all that good stuff. I wanted to take some time to share this with you guys because I know at this point last year I was so overwhelmed and confused by this whole idea of transferring faculties, giving up on sciences, starting over. One of the biggest things for me at the beginning of term 2 was trying to figure out what the heck I wanted to do with my degree. I was basically just this little compact ball of stress that was ready to explode. I was so anxious about school, I felt lost, I was overwhelmed, I had no idea what direction I was going in, and that terrified me. How I got myself out of that was asking myself, am I where I want to be? You're taking everything in your life into consideration. And as many of you may know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I ended up transferring out of sciences into the Faculty of Land and Food Systems. And let me tell you, that, my friends, was the best decision I ever made. But I can only credit that growth and that realization to the fact that I asked myself if I was where I wanted to be. The focus of this video is a little bit more on knowing whether or not making a change like that is right for you. I had a really difficult time admitting that sciences was not for me. For so long, I had it ingrained into my brain that I was a science student, I was good at sciences, I was gonna pursue sciences, but it wasn't until I got to the end of my first term that I really started to question everything that I thought I knew about my degree and what I wanted to do. And that's totally normal. That's part of the experience. It's learning about what you want, what you value, and how you're gonna get there. It is 100% okay for those things to change. I'm in LFS now and I love my faculty, but I'm already starting to think about different ways that I could apply what I've learned to something completely different than what I'm studying. When I was thinking about where I wanted to be, I knew I didn't want sciences, and I knew the way I was feeling was not something that I wanted to feel ever. I didn't want to feel so lost and confused. I didn't want to feel drained and overwhelmed by something that was supposed to be so exciting. When you're considering transferring faculties, it's really hard to know if it's going to be the right move for you. And maybe it's clear as day. For me, it wasn't. When you have this idea of what your education's gonna look like in post-secondary, it can be really hard to deviate from that. University's not supposed to be easy, and admitting to yourself that maybe you're not where you want to be or supposed to be is even harder. Transferring was one of the best things that I did. There's no question about that. But there was so much that led up to me actually being able to make this decision for myself. I constantly went back and forth because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna know until I try it, and it's such a big change to make without knowing what the final answer is gonna be. There's so much uncertainty that comes with the territory of making a change like this. To help me through this process, I asked myself, am I where I want to be? The answer was no. I asked myself, can I make a change? The answer was yes. I then asked myself, what am I passionate about? All of the things that I could think of did not point to a degree in science. I then went on to ask myself, what lifestyle do I want? How do I want to live once I'm done university? Thinking about how all of these things kind of connected really helped me to picture what my future could be like outside of sciences. And that's what you kind of have to encourage yourself to do. But by asking myself those questions, I opened myself up to the possibility of what LFS could be like. For the most part, all of this was happening in January of 2020, which seems like forever ago. As soon as I was able to acknowledge the fact that maybe I wasn't where I wanted to be, it felt as if this giant weight had been lifted off my shoulders, because the amount of stress that we carry in relation to our academic studies is ridiculous. The more that I took the time to explore the opportunities in LFS and the more that I got excited about what those could be, I realized that making a change would not be as scary as it seems, and that even if it didn't totally work out the way I wanted it to, I at least would be passionate about what I was studying. I don't want to go study something that I don't like. I've been there, I've done that, and it was not fun. The biggest part of this is learning about who you are, what your values are, what you're passionate about, and what you could possibly do in the future. And LFS checked off all those boxes for me. That sense of clarity, I think, was what really convinced me that LFS was the place to go. I had done my research, I was communicating with advisors, and I just finally felt like something clicked. It was the first time in the entirety of my first year that I had actually been sure about something that I was doing. For me, there was so much emotion tied to this decision and this experience that I was having that it made it really hard to think clearly. And having that moment of clarity, knowing that LFS was where I wanted to go, reassured me that it was the right decision. At the end of the day, knowing for sure whether or not something is the right choice is nearly impossible. One thing that I strongly believe, and something that I constantly remind myself of, there is no wrong choice when it comes to what you study or what you pursue. There's just another path explored. Not only had I gotten past the point of feeling like I was completely lost, but I had also acknowledged that the time that I had spent feeling that way was not a waste. And that's what that period in my first year felt like, but it wasn't a waste, because at the end of the day, it directed me towards something that I am so freaking passionate about and so excited to be a part of. This is gonna be different for everybody when it comes to knowing what's right for you. Just having a general sense of what you're passionate about can sometimes be enough to tell you whether you're in the right place or not. In my first year, I didn't really know that I was passionate about nutrition. It wasn't until I took that time to ask myself, am I where I want to be? Am I happy? Am I doing what inspires me? It wasn't until I asked myself those questions that I really realized there is more to my degree. To say the least, it was an emotional roller coaster from the beginning to the end. I have not questioned my transfer since doing it. I have been so happy with LFS, the support, the community, the classes I'm taking. Overall, it's been great. And I acknowledge that everybody's experience is going to be different with this, because at the end of the day, we are all different people. We all have different interests and different ways of managing and coping with stress and anxiety and changes. Any step that you take towards making a change for the better is a good one. I've said this before in my videos, but you cannot let other people dictate your education and what you choose to do with it, because it's yours. You are here to learn. You're using your brain, your energy, you're depriving yourself of sleep, not them. And as much as I wish I could tell you that there's an easy way to figure this out, there isn't. Once you acknowledge that maybe you're not where you want to be and there's something that you can do about it, trust me, you'll be so much better off. Like I said, I wanted to share this with you because I know how I felt through all of this, and I wanted to let you know that one, you're not alone in those feelings, and two, that there's something that you can kind of do about it. If you have any questions regarding transferring faculties, what that process is like, or even more questions about my experience doing so, feel free to leave a comment down below or shoot me an email. I'm always happy to talk with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.